The patent was always mine. My name is Johan. I'm 49 years old, software engineer, and for 23 years, I showed up. Same building, same badge, same quiet desk on the third floor. I wasn't the loud one, not the one in meetings talking over people, not the one chasing promotions or recognition. I was the one they called when something broke. Johan will fix it. That was enough for them. I built systems no one else wanted to touch, legacy code, fragile integrations, the kind of architecture that only makes sense after you've lived inside it long enough. And I stayed, through leadership changes, through layoffs, through restructuring phases that always seemed to hit everyone except the people making decisions. I stayed because I believed something simple. If you do your job well enough, you become indispensable. I was wrong. The morning. It was raining that day. Not dramatic, not cinematic, just steady, quiet rain. The kind that slows everything down without you noticing. Traffic was heavier than usual, an accident on the ring road. I checked the time twice, then a third time. 8:59, 9:07, 9:18. By the time I parked, it was 9:30. Exactly. I didn't rush, didn't run, because in 23 years, I had never been late. Not once. I walked in like I always did, badge, door, third floor, but something felt off. My manager was waiting, not at her desk, at mine. "Johan," she said, flat tone, no greeting. "Come with me." The room. Small meeting room, glass walls, too bright. HR was already there. That was the first sign. The second sign was the folder on the table. "Please sit," she said. I didn't. "What's this about?" I asked. She didn't look uncomfortable, didn't hesitate, didn't even try to soften it. "You were 30 minutes late this morning." I nodded once. "There was an accident on the—" She raised her hand, stopped me. "Policy is policy." Silence. "We apply the same standards to everyone," she continued. "Standard procedure." That was the moment. Not when she said I was late. Not when HR opened the folder. When she said standard procedure. Because I realized something. After 23 years, I wasn't a person in that room. I was a line in a document, a rule, a checkbox. "You're terminating me?" I asked. She nodded. "Effective immediately." No apology, no acknowledgement, no mention of the 23 years, just procedure. I looked at her, really looked. Young, efficient, certain. The kind of certainty that comes from believing systems are always right. I smiled, not because it was funny, because I finally understood. I stood up, closed the folder, pushed it back toward her. "Okay," I said, and I walked out. No speech, no anger, no resistance, because in that moment, I stopped being part of their system. The quiet. The first few days was silent. No calls, no emails, no questions, which meant one thing. They believed I was replaceable. I expected that, because from the outside, it always looks that way. Code is code, systems are systems, engineers are engineers, until something breaks. The foundation. What they didn't know was what I had been building. Not just systems, not just architecture, ownership. Years ago, long before she became my manager, I had worked on something different. A core optimization layer, a system that reduced processing time by 40%, cut infrastructure costs, stabilized critical operations. At the time, they called it internal tooling, not product, not intellectual property, just something that made everything work better. So they never asked the right questions, and I never offered the answers. Because I learned something early in my career. If you build something valuable, understand who owns it. And in this case, they didn't. I did. The first crack, day 9. The first email arrived. "Johan, we're seeing unusual latency in the system. Can you clarify configuration dependencies?" No greeting, no apology, no acknowledgement, just expectation. I didn't reply. Day 11. Another message. "Urgent. System performance degrading. Need your input." Still no accountability. Still no awareness. I closed the email. Day 14. 9 missed calls. Same number. My manager. I let it ring. Then, finally, a voicemail. Her voice was different. Less certain. Less controlled. "Johan, we need to talk. Call me back." I didn't. An hour later, another voicemail. More urgent. "Johan, this is serious." Still no apology. Still no understanding. Then, the third message. And this one was different. The call. I picked up. Silence on the other end for a second. Then, her voice. "What did you do?" No greeting, no hesitation. "What do you mean?" I asked. "The system," she said. "It's failing, completely failing." I leaned back in my chair. "Have you tried following standard procedure?" I asked. Silence. Then, anger. "This isn't funny, Johan." "I'm not joking." Another pause. Then she said it, the sentence that changed everything. "Since when is the patent in your name?" There it was. Awareness. The truth. "You found it," I said. "What is this?" she snapped. "This is core infrastructure. This is company property." "No," I said calmly. "It's not." Silence again. Then, faster, more frantic. "You developed this here, on company time, using company resources." "Incorrect," I said. I stood up, walked to the window. "It was developed independently," I continued. "Documented, registered, approved." "You're lying." "No," I said. "I'm prepared." The shift. Everything changed after that call. Not loudly, not publicly, quietly. Legal inquiries, internal investigations, emergency meetings. Because once they realized the truth, they had a problem. The system they depended on wasn't theirs. And without it, everything slowed, then broke, then failed. The meeting. 3 days later, they asked to meet. Not demanded, asked. Different tone, different posture. I agreed. Same building, same floor, same glass room. But this time, I didn't sit across from them. I sat at the head of the table. Legal team present. Documents ready. My manager looked different. Not confident anymore. Controlled, but barely. "We need to resolve this," she said. I nodded. "Yes," I said, "we do." The collapse. They tried everything. Arguments, pressure, negotiation. But facts don't react. Ownership was clear. Documentation was complete. And for the first time, they weren't in control. The decision. "I'm willing to license the system," I said. Silence. "But not under the previous terms." She looked at me. "What terms?" she asked. I leaned forward. "New contract, new structure, new position." "And if we refuse," she said. I didn't hesitate. "Then you build it yourself." We both knew what that meant. They couldn't. The ending. I didn't go back, not as an employee, as a consultant, on my terms, higher rate, clear boundaries, full control over what I built. And my manager, she still worked there, but she never said policy is policy again, because now she understood something she didn't before. Systems only work until the people who built them walk away. And sometimes, the person you reduce to standard procedure is the one holding everything together. I was never late. I was just finished.
Select now another video in our series of family and company dramas. They are all powerful stories of people coming back stronger after they have been humiliated or hurt by family members or their management. Always make sure you stay strong. Let nobody ever tell you what you are worth. You know the best. Of course.